Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. I am your host, Kevin Reed, and this is the review of Prime Video's new action thriller, Pretty Lethal. In this film, we follow a dysfunctional ballet troupe who are forced to take shelter when their bus breaks down en route to a prestigious competition and must use their training to fight back against a gang of armed men targeting them. I don't know. You ever you ever sat down and was watching a movie, and midway through the movie you started questioning your life decisions, and it's nothing that the movie is bringing to your attention, that brings up these questions or anything like that. I mean, you come up with these life decisions or question the decisions you made throughout your life because you're watching this movie. Because I found myself sitting there and wondering, is there anything else better I could be doing in my life right now? I could be reading a book. I could be building a bookcase or something. I could be doing anything other than watching this movie and find enjoyment. I could be pulling out my toenails, which takes place in this movie, and I probably would enjoy it more than actually sitting down watching this movie. I don't know what this movie is. I honestly don't know what they were trying to do in this movie. This movie stars Uma Thurman, or at least she's the biggest name in this movie. The rest are a bunch of young actresses. You have Iris Apatow, Lana Condor, and Maddie Ziegler in this. I don't know, monstrosity of a film. What drew me to this movie was the fact that 87 North was producing it. In case you don't know what 87 North is, that is the stunt troupe that has given us films such as the John Wick films and a lot of David Leitch's films. This practical stunt work, not relying on CGI. And I love those films because it's practical, it's real, well, as real as it can be, with actual stunt performers rolling down the stairs, being thrown through walls, and doing these fight sequences that looks bananas. I love all of that. The movies aren't all great, but I love the stunts in them. And this is the first one I'm sitting here and I'm like, I didn't even like the stunts in this movie. I didn't like anything about this film. The story was lame. The acting was horrible. Horrible. Even Uma Thurman. She, she was so bad in this movie. And this is The Bride. We're talking about The Bride from Kill Bill here, man. This Uma Thurman. And she was horrible in this movie. Nothing about this movie was good. Absolutely nothing. Well, let me take that back. I'm not gonna nail it to the cross fully here. I'll leave one hand free. There were a couple, and I mean one or two action sequences or fight sequences that were mildly entertaining. I was mildly entertained by, but the rest of the film, no. We're caught up in this loop here where I don't know what type of movie this is. Is it a comedy? Is it an action film? Is it a thriller? Is it a teen drama? It tried to be way too much and it couldn't nail one of them. Just one. If they could have nailed one of those genres, I would have been all right. Maybe a little more accepting. But no. It feels like, and I could be wrong. Maybe I need to watch it again, which I won't. But it feels like the movie at point was trying to actually take itself seriously. No, if it would have leaned heavy into the ridiculousness of the situation, once again, I would have accepted it more because it was truly a ridiculous situation. Let me give you an example here. And there was a fight sequence. I think it was the first fight sequence we had uh, with our lead actresses in peril. And one of the girls here, they were fighting this goon in ballerina. I mean, the whole ballerina routine, just the bouncing on the toes, doing the pirouettes and all that. I mean, doing all that and just working this guy. Oh, I don't look. They tried to make excuses that all of these goons, all of these armed men were drunk at the bar. It was okay, cool, but you kind of threw that away when we had scenes where some of these men were also drunk and all this here were beating the snot out of these girls. I mean, beating them half to death. Now, I will say this. I do appreciate the fact that they did kind of lean into some type of realism, that the fact that these girls couldn't take on these grown killers, you know, hand to hand, that they actually would get beat up. And they did. Those girls got beat up. But that's a problem for me. I didn't want to watch a movie with 5 girls getting slung around this building in this hotel. Just, I mean, getting the holy hell beat out of them. It was uncomfortable by grown men. It was so uncomfortable. I mean, maybe 1 or 2 punches just to get the point across, and I would have been fine. But no, I mean, they were getting monkey stomped. And the scenes went on and on and on. I was like, come on. I think that's enough. That's enough. There's scenes of torture of these young girls in this movie. Now, I know they're not actual teenage. I think all of these girls are maybe in their early 20s in real life. But, you know, in the sense of the movie, they're kind of teenagers, you know, in their late teens. They never state how old they are, at least not that I can remember, because honestly, it was nothing to retain from this film. But it was hard to watch those scenes where the girls getting the snot beat out of them. You know, it very difficult. But anywho's, yeah, the movie is garbage, and you know, it's not even good in streaming standards. You know, normally you can watch a little streaming movie and like, okay, you know, you ain't lose anything. You know, you pay for your subscription, but you ain't have to go to the theater and all this here to watch it. So you're not really losing anything but time. But I felt like I lost something watching this movie. Honestly, I was sitting there thinking, like, man, I wasted an hour and a half of my life here. The movie is just that bad. And I think the one thing that really hurts the most is the fact that it was potential here. I mean, the story, you know, going with this story, you could have did something here. You could have made a nice little action comedy, or, you know, just an off the ball kind of a parody of a movie. But they didn't do that. It just felt like at moments they were really trying to take themselves seriously, which was a clear mistake. Pretty Lethal gets a letter grade of an F. Yeah, man. I initially it was going to be a D minus, but the more I think about it, the more I couldn't find out one good thing about this movie that that I would give an ounce of credit to. But that's one man's opinion. I would like to know yours. What did you think of Pretty Lethal? Email the show, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also search for the show on all social media platforms. Just search for the KB Radio Network. Also, don't forget about YouTube, everybody. Subscribe to the KB Radio Network channel and like this video if you don't mind. Don't forget about the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the concession stand here on the KB Radio Network. Everybody, thank you for joining me for this review of Pretty Lethal, which is currently on Prime Video. Want you all to know that I love you, continue to love everyone, and until we speak again, you all be blessed.